probably been several months ago. We had that session on Stripe and using Stripe versus PayPal and all that. So I think I had mentioned that our treasurer, our finance person, begged me to switch over on, to Stripe. So we did that. And I just heard from her a couple of days ago, and she said, it's great. They used to get questions and problems with PayPal a lot. No questions, no comments, no problems. The money comes in faster. It's just so much better. So I just thought I'd share that it's a much better experience with Stripe versus using PayPal. So.
Well, that is something I think all leagues can look forward to then, if that's, what we're all leading to. Nice. We can launch into questions. I had previously thought I could talk about nodes, but I think it was Susan who had asked that, so I'll save that for another time. But we can launch into questions. Mike, we can start off with you.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm still playing with reactions. Who knows? Okay. I sent you some questions about when you created events and then you want to copy them to your Google Calendar, it puts in the wrong times. Did you ever get an answer to that one?
I haven't yet, but I did make that ticket to our tech team. Yeah, I'm not sure what was happening there. For folks that haven't seen it already, let me just travel to a site here. On all events, you have the add to calendar button. There we go. So we have an event. Oh, maybe because this is in the past. Sorry. But for upcoming events, you have that add to calendar button. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, you go on the Berrien County one if you want to, Cass County, and show them that way. But basically, to explain to the group, I created several events, and when I added to my calendar, it turned it over the first two to Pacific time. And then the last one that I added, the third one, it still kept Eastern Daylight Time, which is where I'm at. So I wasn't quite sure why, how I did that. So
yeah, and it should be, tied to your, as far as what it's displayed, it should be tied to your time zone if you're logged in. But it shouldn't affect it once you download it. Yeah, so that was the reason why I made that ticket, because it shouldn't be changing the hours upon clicking add to calendar. So if anybody else has that or notices that, you can also let me know. But yeah, it would just be us adding to the current ticket. So hopefully that'll be in the next round of work for our team.
Yeah, I haven't tried the other calendars, just the Google Calendar.
Mm-hmm. I have a question.
Yeah. So
I noticed on the slideshow images that, the bar, for lack of another way to describe it, the bar that goes across the bottom that has the title and the link. I noticed that the color of the background of that changes. Is there any way to, how does that, so if you, I don't know, if you want to go to my website, Bucks County, like it depends on what the color of the slideshow image is, it changes. And I wondered how, can you control that?
I think I typed it in wrong. So the bar, like the title bar, it is an opaque white. So it will somewhat change with whatever is in the background, whatever image you're using.
But scroll through, see it's kind of pinky there.
Again, because it's an opaque white. So it's playing off of the color that you have in the image. So the title bar itself is not changing color, but because your images are different colors, it's going to look different.
Okay, well that explains it, because I'm like, oh, look at that. Look, because it actually looks nice on, I think there's one for American Heritage Month or whatever, and that one came out I'm trying to think. There you go. That looked really nice with the lighter shade. And I'm like, oh, how did that happen?
Gotcha. I mean, and that also lets you know which colors, work best with it. And maybe that
Yeah.
means you have like a frame that you add to images or something like a bar at the bottom of that blue
Right.
that you really like, so that you always have that as the background of your title bar.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other questions? I can also go mining through my emails to see what have been the latest questions from folks.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Helen.
I probably shouldn't even ask it because I haven't tried to explore it myself, but since you were talking about slides,
Yeah.
I deleted a slide
Mhm.
by deleting the photo.
Okay.
And now I have a blank slide.
Yes, that definitely happens. And to be able to fix that, you would, instead of going through the files, you would go through manage content. And there
Okay.
you'll have to find the slideshow by name, or, knowing other details about it. But usually I like to narrow down my list, and you can narrow down your list even further, so that if you say the slideshow items that are published, meaning just the ones that are showing up in the slideshow right now, will form your list. And then from there, again, you just have to go based off of the title. What I like to do is have let's see, what site am I on? Have my homepage open in another tab. So in case, let's say you have slideshow items that have the same exact title, you'll know, or if they have the same exact title, you have to go based off of creation date. But this lets you know, okay, I want to take down this specific one, so I'm going to copy that title, and I could search by it, or we just go through there. Whoops. Sorry, and I'm just going to show you from here. So click on the checkbox next to it, and then you can either completely delete, or what we recommend is unpublish, in case you ever wanted to bring it back up.
I thought that was how I deleted it, but I'll play with it some more.
Yeah, for sure. And in case, if we wanted to show how that might happen, as far as if the image itself gets deleted, here we go. I'm going to see about deleting this candidate form image that I have. Actually, do I have access to that? I think I'd have to masquerade here. Sorry, I was already set up here, but it looks like I wasn't logged in as the right person. Okay, let me just get rid of one of these, since I know one of these images is being used. Okay, and while I'm here, if you're ever going through manage files and going through to delete items, what I always recommend before deleting is double checking to see where it's being used. So in this middle column for the stats, you get the file size, the date it was uploaded, but you also get to see where it's being used. Sometimes this list will be where it was used. So that is also one thing, I guess, to be aware of. But obviously it's only being used one place, and that's where I placed it. So me getting rid of it, I know where it's going to be removed from. But let's go through that. We always get a quick confirmation page to click delete again. And now if we go to the home page, we get that empty slide. And then just as before, go through manage content, and it's at the top of my list, I think, because I just deleted the picture, so that made a change to the slideshow item. But again, if you needed to search for it and narrow down your list, you can do that as well. And then we just unpublish or delete and click execute.
Thank you.
For sure. Thank you for the question. Any other questions?
Susan's here. Is this the right Susan that you were thinking of?
I think so. I'll give her a second and then I'll bombard her with my question. Yes, it is. Hi, Susan.
Hi there. I'm having trouble unmuting again.
No worries.
If you don't agree to being recorded, it won't let you unmute. Ah,
Yeah, you got to give us your permission first. There you go. Well, I was mentioning you earlier because I had thought about talking about nodes today. But then I thought, let me put it on pause
aha,
until you are here. So we can talk about nodes. We can
Here I
continue with
am.
questions if anybody has any burning questions. Okay.
I have a quick question about what you just did.
Yeah, for sure.
I was trying to unmute and all that, and only semi-listening. But when you delete the image and are still left with a blank slide,
Mhm.
what was it you did that got rid of the blank slide in the slideshow?
Yeah. So the blank
Unpublish?
slide, well, yeah, unpublish.
Okay.
You can delete as well. But unpublish is usually what we recommend. Obviously, if you unpublish it and let's say publish it later on, it's still going to be without an image until you add one back. But I think actually, let's go through that. So if I go through and try to publish the slideshow item that I just unpublished that does not have an image, I think the system might prevent me. Yeah, it's required. So let's pretend I try to republish that. I'm not allowed without the image.
Okay.
So we have that kind of fail safe there, but not when you delete an image, the slideshow will stay up. So keep that in mind. Any other questions? Okay. So, as far as the basics of a node, let's pop over to the glossary. So we talk about content all the time because that is what creates your site as far as the pages that you add, the stuff that is within them, the different types of content as far as action alerts, pages, positions, all that. But nodes are the same as content or individual pages. That's kind of the Drupal term for a piece of content. Mike.
I can do this. Yeah, I forgot to mention that I did try that you've got in the when you add an event. I did figure out how to put in the Zoom link so you have the button and how to register. That
Okay,
works
nice.
excellent. So if anybody wants to do that, that saves a lot of time. So
This
as
was
I'm
something
trying,
that we had talked about in last week's or last session, talking about the register for this event button. And
yes, I'm trying to get discipline where we always ask for the title and the speaker and the time and the place and how to register. So that button really helps a lot. So
yeah,
thanks.
great. And we can review that for anybody that might have a question about that. Oh, I see Mary Jo's in the waiting room. Okay, so with nodes, like I said, they are each individual piece of content. So every single page within our sites has a node and what we call a node ID. So it's kind of just the number that we assign to that piece of content so that the system can keep track of it all. So coming back over to my site, like I said, every page has its own node ID. And one way that we are able to easily pick that up is by using the address for either the edit draft button or if you would have a new draft button. But if I can either open the page, but I'm just going to drop the link into a notepad here. So this is the page or the link that would open up the URL.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Where'd you get that?
I copied it from here. I did a right click on the edit draft button. And if I
Okay.
were on a page that doesn't have an existing draft, oops, that one has one too. Let's, oh my goodness. There we go. So if we had a page like this where I don't have an existing draft, the same thing, the new draft button
Yeah.
has the same
Okay.
address there. There we go. So I copied a separate one as well. So
Gotcha.
the ID is what's off to the right of the node slash whatever that number is. So the node slash the number is kind of a universal part of how to build a MyLO URL. If you know the node ID, then you don't have to worry about if a page title changes. Typically, our system is going to be on top of things, and if you do change a page title, then our system makes a redirect of, this is called the alias. So think of the alias like the pretty version of a URL, and then the node ID is like the ugly machine readable version. The system is going to do its thing and create a redirect from the old alias to the new alias. And so usually we're covered as far as if, let's say you have, if I placed this URL, this alias somewhere, and then I change this page title several times over time, the system should still be placing those redirects so that I'm still connected, even though I'm using this old alias URL. The node ID just does a quicker job of that because it doesn't worry about page title changes or anything like that. This URL remains constant and attached to this piece of content. I guess one of the biggest differences with a node ID and like a URL is we often see like /donate and /join on like a page title in your site, because that's what we connect your donate and join buttons to. So with this type of alias URL, you can change its destination as far as the node ID attached to this URL can change because it depends on what content you are titling as donate, as opposed to, again, the node ID is attached strictly to one piece of content and that's it. So with that said, as far as where you see it come up, other than if you copy it yourself, when you are in the WYSIWYG editor and you use our link to content tool. Now this tool is a little funky, and we are working, or this is going to be in the next bit of work, since we've gotten over some hurdles previously. But it didn't come up immediately for me, but that has been one of the things we've identified. You have to close it and then reopen it. And what happens, it actually is picking up this URL that I have down here. I'm going to start a new line here. Okay, so link to content. I'm going to zoom out a bit. This tool, link it tool, is a bit long. So sometimes it does go past just like your normal screen size. So I find myself often having to zoom out. But what you would do from here, you could search, you can go through the pages, but when you click on one of those selections, because what it's doing is searching through your site for your site's published content. If you belong to more than one MyLO site, then your list may not be, it'll only show up one league's list. But typically most of you guys are just belonging to one league. But you see when I clicked on one, it drops in that node ID. And so that's where the node comes into play for the system. And like I said, it will be a constant link as far as if action and advocacy were to change, we could still be connected to the proper place.
Marie, how did you get to that pop-up?
Yeah, let me go through that again. So I made sure that my cursor was where I want to eventually drop in the link. And then it's the link to content tool. Here. So our chain link with a plus, link to content. And when I initially opened it, it does open kind of improperly. It doesn't open fully as it should, or load fully as it should. So I had to close out of it and then open it once again. Like I said, we have identified some like weird things with this tool. So we are going to be looking into this, and I'm hoping that that's going to be what's being worked on next. Because we do have some improvements on like our logout issues that we had previously been seeing. And so with that hurdle in our rear view, this should hopefully be the next one. Sandy.
Can you, if you know the node already and copied it, can you put it in link URL? Can you just paste it in there
Yes.
rather than scrolling through the whole list?
Yeah, you sure can.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
just make sure that you begin it with a / and then
Okay.
node / whatever that number is.
Okay.
Let's we can play around with a couple of different ones. I am just going to add, maybe I should not add a random number because maybe the content won't exist. So we'll add one there. And I'm going to add one more. I want to test out the difference between if I put in the / or if I don't. I can't recall if it does make a difference, so we're going to see. Oh, it was the node for this very same page. Okay. Okay, so it does make a difference. I'm going to copy what the system is creating because it does show up in the bottom left corner, but it's kind of hard to see. So this is when I typed out the /. The / is included before the node. And then the one where I started with just node, this is what we get. So this is the alias URL up here of the page that we're on. So if you include, and that goes not just for nodes, it goes for anything. Like if you are going to, I'm trying to think of, I guess if you had just a donate, you know, if you just had the, what we call the path, like the end of a URL, just the part that is after the kind of final /, then what is assumed before that is typically going to be the page that you're on. Sometimes it's going to just assume your MyLO site, so minus whatever that page you're on, if you don't include the /. So sometimes a simple, like that you didn't include one little thing can really change where you're trying to make a destination setup.
So when you showed us how to get the node, you did a right click on either new draft or edit draft, okay? And you copy link address, right? And that's going to be, that has more than just node. It has the HTTP. Can you put that whole line into that that the top part?
Yeah, like the link URL field. The only thing that you want to delete is the word edit.
Sure, right, the
Yeah.
edit, but you could just copy that whole thing. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a working link. Yeah, because the only thing is
Yeah.
if you leave the word edit, it's not going to allow them into the page, but it's going to give them a you're not allowed page, and that's
know,
never fun.
I did that once. I
It
realized,
that's always the best way to learn. But yeah, if you get rid of edit and throw it in all like that, that works too.
okay, thank you.
So what is this information going to do for us? At the moment, all I can think of is give us a way to have to jump around within our website and use a button to send me to another page or to an event or something and make sure I get there. And that's what it helps me with?
Yes. I mean, there's definitely more than just the nodes as far as like I said, you can use the URL of a page if you just copied it from what you see in the address bar.
Yeah.
Because our system does the redirects in the back end. But yes, the nodes would be one way of, like here, I have my contact us page and I've dropped in links to my voter newsletter and a press release page. So the nodes are one way of creating that URL.
I have another question on that because I had asked you about this before. So, and I was just using the whole address from the page, the URL that the client would see from the outside.
Uh-huh.
Does it make any difference internally whether you use the node address or that?
No,
Okay.
no, they are the same. Yeah, because I have not come across a time where the system is not creating those redirects. So if you are using this front-facing URL, the longer one, yeah, it's going to stay on the trail if you change the page name, because the page name affects the URL, but the system should keep that chain going.
Okay. Thank you again.
Then actually anchors are more important than nodes in many respects. And you can do anchors in MyLO, right?
Yeah, let's talk about those. I love anchors.
So do I. They're great.
Especially on long pages, they really come in handy. I'm trying to see if I have a long page here myself. I might not.
I have one, I think, on my website. Trying to think. Yeah.
No worries. I am going to just go with, here we go. We'll go with this one. So anchors are a way to place links within a page. And you can jump around the page that way. Well, as far as what we often see them behave as, or like back to the beginning or back to the top kind of buttons, or like a legend or, kind of menu at the top of the page to say, this is the sections you can jump down to. So I am just going to create my random little list here. Let's just make it with 2 sections. So I usually like to start out with whatever, like I said, if it's going to be a back to the top button, if it's going to be a menu at the top of your page, whatever is going to be the hyperlink thing, I type that out first. Then I will go ahead. Actually, let's create the anchor first before we hyperlink. So wherever section 1 anchor is going to drop, that's where I'm going to place my header. So that's going to be next to heading 2. And I always just place it to the left because the anchor is always going to forcefully be at the beginning of a line. And we have our anchor, insert edit anchor icon there, opens up a new little window, and we name our anchor. So I will name that section either underscore or -1. So no spaces, underscores or dashes. Section 1, and obviously letters and numbers are okay. I think if you start to add punctuation, that's where it starts to get a little iffy because we are essentially creating a piece of a URL. So once we drop that in, or once we click insert, it drops in. If we needed to make changes, you just click on it. And once you click on it, you know that it's selected properly because this highlights. You would click on that tool again, and then you can make your change like, oops, I misspelled that, whatever. What I also like to then do, which I forgot to do earlier, was copy your anchor name because this is what you need exactly. Because if it's misspelled, it won't work. We need that to create the hyperlink for this bit here. So I highlight the phrase or word, whatever that's going to be hyperlinked. And then I could use either the link to content or insert edit link. I prefer the insert edit link since we are just going to paste in what we have. But first, we need a hashtag or a pound sign. So drop that in first because that's the kind of the call card of a anchor. Like that's what it's going to be identified by is that hashtag. And then I insert and it drops in that link. So let's actually put our section 2 a little bit further down the page. Again, my page is not super long. So again, sorry, I'm scrolling around a bit. I placed my cursor, whoops, not heading 3, heading 4. So I place my cursor to the left of heading 4. I click on insert edit anchor. This time I'm going to cheat and paste that in and just swap out for number 2. And we could copy, but I'll insert. And then we come back up to wherever we want to hyperlink. We highlight that and we choose insert edit link or link to content. And then again, start out with the hashtag and paste in what you have, or like I did, just replace the number and we insert. Just to add a little extra formatting, I'm gonna make it a bit different there. Okay, so now let's save it so we can test it out. All right, so section 1, we can see that this is at the top of our page, and then section 2 takes us down to heading 4.
But the anchors just work within the page, correct?
Yes, let's say if you wanted to have an anchor, if I wanted to lead from this page to an anchor on a separate page, you can do that as well.
Oh, so you can go from different pages.
Yes, so if you wanted to do that, let me go ahead and have this here. So I have this URL is what I would copy. So
Okay.
my my page URL is all here before the hashtag. Or you could use a node ID as well, but then it's the hashtag anchor name that you attach onto the end of either that alias URL or that node URL. And it would work to go from a separate page to one specific spot on another page.
Okay, so you're just not, okay, the URL will let you go anywhere within your site. Can it go outside your site? Let's say I want to put a anchor or, well, no, I can't do that because I don't own the other sites. Never mind.
I mean, it could be the other way around, since you have ownership of this site. If you provided this URL to someone else and it was an
Mhm.
outside source and not a MyLO site, it would still work as expected.
But if I go outside of the other site, I usually have to have a URL. So
Yeah, like
okay.
say and that's one thing I think I always wish I could have. Like, let's say, well, this is obviously a MyLO site, but if this were like any other page online, and let's say, oh, I want to share this page, but I want to share it specifically starting at this point. I have not found a way to make that happen as an outside visitor to a website. What can often happen in a Google search is if I search for something, I don't know if it will come across in the way that I'm hoping for, no. I don't know if you guys have ever encountered this in a Google search. Sometimes your results will have like sometimes one where it will be kind of a pull quote, and that quote will be highlighted within the page. And what Google does in some magical way is they create the URL to forcefully highlight that text, so that in that way, if you share that URL, it would share it with that section highlighted. That is Google magic that I have no clue of. So I don't know if you know, just any person can make that. But that might be a way around it, if that's kind of what you're talking about, Mike. Like you're visiting another site that's not MyLO, and you're like, I want to lead someone to this specific spot.
Yeah, because the example I have is the League of Women Voters in Michigan is having a speaker come, let's say Kalamazoo, but it's going to be virtual. And so I posted it to our site so our members would know about it. But the link to all the information is in the League of Women Voters site, but it's not on like a front page or something. It's buried, within like halfway through a long page. So instead of giving them the directions, it'd be nice to have just the anchor say, oh yeah, the information's on this league, and click right to where, like you said earlier, right? For empowering voters right here, right where it started. That'd have been nice, but I can get around it.
Okay.
There is an application for it when you want your members to look at a specific location in another site.
But then do the visitors have to have that app as well?
No, it's open. It just helps them.
Not familiar. Yeah, Sandy.
So taking that one step further, at least in my mind, what Mike's talking about. So like, let's say, I'm trying to go to my website here. Go back to my website. And, I have a whole bunch of stuff under like our take action and issues, the issues page. Maybe I'm highlighting something about the Electoral College reform. And so, like, we just did a program on abolishing the Electoral College. Okay. So I wanted to provide a link to that information. And so the only way all I had was our issues page, which has, 25 things or whatever. I could have put as the link the anchor URL, right? Because I have anchors on each one of those issues. I could have actually, I didn't realize that. I could have given that as the link when we sent out, here's further information. You can actually use the anchor URL. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes it so much easier rather than expecting people to scroll through the whole page. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's good. All right. Thank you.
I have a whole new question when you're through here.
I think we're ready.
And this is an easy one. That
Bring it
that
on.
definitions dictionary that you were looking at to show us the definition for node, I have never encountered that. Where is it hiding?
It is, if you are on our documentation side, you'll see it here, but I can also drop the link.
It's in public space, of course, right in front of me.
Somewhere somewhat easy. Trying to think if there's another spot. Yeah, not in the footer. But yeah, if you're on the documentation, excuse me, it'll be under that menu. And we try and add things as they come up, and I'm just like, oh, maybe I've heard that for the first time, or feel like it's a thing that we use all the time. We add them here. You might have terms here that you may not come across that often in MyLO, but they will help you understand how the system was built and based on Drupal, because a lot of the terms are based on Drupal. But yeah, go crazy with the glossary. As I was pulling it up earlier today to refresh myself, I can't remember which term I was like, oh, it was modal. So this was one that I've come across before, but it made total sense. A modal window creates a mode that disables the main window, but keeps it visible in the background. So just like the media library window that comes up when you're editing content and you're ready to insert a file, that's a modal window that comes up. The link it tool is another modal window. So yeah, fun times in the glossary.
What does Drupal stand for, or what does it represent?
I think it's in another language because the symbol is a water droplet. So I think Drupal is maybe like Swedish or something. I think it's just not English. It's a non-English word.
It's a Dutch word.
Dutch. Okay, thank you.
Drupal means drop of water in Dutch.
Yeah, they're
Or
very
drop
clear
of
with their
anything,
logo.
really. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's a large community of international developers that have created Drupal. Any other questions?
I guess I could ask this. So I was struggling with inserting images within the content. I was doing, so that the image was to the right. You could, if you want to go to the page, if you still have
I do.
go under voting and voting by mail. Okay. You scroll down, you see that. Okay. I have to tell you, I probably spent 3 hours trying to create this step by step to get the images to sit in the right place. And I don't know, is there a trick to it? It's should I have created separate
like tables?
WYSIWYG boxes, or what's the best way to do this?
I think as far as the tables, getting to that step, it depends on the images and
I didn't do a
the amount of
table.
text
This
you
is
have.
just regular text, no tables. I just,
Did you have trouble having to, like, let's say you dropped it in and then you didn't like where the start of it was, so you dropped it in at a different line?
Yeah, so in one case, like step 3, I think I dropped it in after envelope. Okay. The bolded envelope, and then that seemed to work for that image. It just was, I had to spend so much time going in and out and trying this and trying that, and I just didn't know if I had maybe created a separate WYSIWYG, add a new section for each one of the steps, it might have looked a little bit better. Because see, between step 3 and step 4, you see there's all that space.
I see
And I
what you're
think that's
talking
because of the image on the right. Yeah. So
yeah, because I think as far as like the aspect ratio or like the overall shape, the step 2 and step 4 images are more rectangular and flatter, and it seems the step 3 is more square. So I get why it was more difficult to get it to stop pushing the step 4 further down.
Okay. So
I think a table might have been one way, but then that totally changes the look as far as condensing it within a table in the page. I don't know if separate paragraph boxes would have done anything different. I think it still might have pushed them around as you were seeing.
Okay, I might try it out a couple different ways,
But yeah, test it out and let me know.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, I had a look in mind, and I wanted to look this way because we have a sort of a poster that we distribute that has the same information, and I could have put the whole poster, but that would have been, I don't know. Can you put a whole big image in like that?
You can. love this, what you've done though, because this is a bit more accessible and a bit more
Yeah.
digestible for everybody online.
Yeah,
Because if we're thinking of folks that
right.
are on smaller devices, or if they are low or no vision folks, images, and especially large images with a lot of text and a lot of information, are harder to take in, because you're
Yeah.
just not going to be able to
Right.
fit everything in the alt text like you would, you know, here. You've pulled out the entire message and put it on the web page. Yeah,
Okay.
other than I know that a table would give you equal spacing as far as, you know, giving you the ability to control that more. But if you do test it out with those separate paragraph boxes, I would be interested to know if that did it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll wait till, well, the election's on Tuesday. I'll wait till futz with it for the November.
There you go. Yeah, I'm like, I don't think that this is something that you'll want to or need to rush to start playing around
No.
with.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Problem.
I just was thinking about doing this, that it's always tricky to make sure that it looks good on all the devices. And you did touch on that. Because I know I've tried to do things like this, and then when I look at it on my phone, it's like a whole different thing.
That is true. Yeah, it is worth checking those out. And if you haven't seen it before with your web browser, you can check this out so that you don't have to go and find all those different devices. I right-clicked anywhere on my web page, and this menu comes up, and I choose Inspect. And I'm using Google Chrome right now, but this is available in all of the major web browsers. You right-click and hit Inspect. I have the device toolbar toggled on already, but if you wouldn't have it on, this is what it would load with. So it shows you the developer kind of menu, the HTML of the page on the right, the toggle device toolbar. I think we tested this in the other browsers in a different session. The keyboard control is the same. So if you have a hard time locating where it is, then you just click on your keyboard after hitting inspect, hit Control Shift M. Control Shift M all together. It toggles on the device toolbar, and that's this across the top here. You get to choose from many different devices to see what it'll look like on, you know, different iPads, iPhones, different Samsung items. If you edit the list, I don't think that it lets you choose more. It just lets you narrow down or remove some. And then you can even, let's just choose an iPhone here. You can flip it to see the landscape version as well. So yeah, in inspecting and choosing to see the device toolbar, then that's one way.
You know, I forgot to do that, but I'm happy to say it doesn't look too bad
No, it looks
on
good.
the phone, especially if you do it landscape.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too bad.
But yeah, that's a quick way to see it, and especially to you don't have to worry about like waiting on the cache, since our site's cache takes a few minutes. If you were to just pull out your phone and try to look it up without logging in, that's where you come into that. So being able to inspect it right from the web page you're already in makes it easier.
Great. Thank you for reminding us how that do.
Yeah, thanks, Maddie.
And where did you find the inspect word? I saw it on the drop down, but where'd you hit to get the drop down?
Anywhere, I just have my mouse in the web page, anywhere in the browser.
Oh, anywhere.
And I
All right. Okay. All right.
I think even if you're up top, let's see, if you right click, no, if you're like in your bookmarks or the address bar, that won't work, but anywhere in the viewing window of your browser.
Okay.
And I right click there. Any other questions?
Yes,
Yeah,
in our league's website, we've got a page for video and audio recordings.
Mhm.
And I have not got to that yet. It looks like the back end, when you click on a recording, that's in our YouTube channel. But
Okay.
eventually I'll probably have, I assume it's the same kind of link that we create before. You just create the text and then say, click here and put the YouTube link in there so you can. But yeah, I noticed that stopped, so I'm gonna have, I might have some questions for you later on and I'll send you an email, but
Yeah, for sure.
we don't have room in MyLO to store the recordings, do we?
Well, what our MyLO's or the media library does, it technically, it allows you to upload them, but it doesn't house them.
Okay,
So I can actually just go through that real quick. If you have a YouTube video URL, that's all you need to be able to upload through our media library. So I'm just going to copy a video from our MyLO training. Whoops. The printing widget is now available. Okay. Sorry. So this is what I'm copying. So I'm on YouTube and I just found a video and I'm copying the URL at the top. You can either
okay.
copy it from there or there's a share button.
Yep, I'm familiar with that.
Either one will work. But if you
I think the share button is better. Sometimes it's smaller, the
a
link.
lot more reliable.
Yes.
So I'm gonna drop in, let's say, actually, I don't have to type anything in. I place my cursor where I want the video to go because what it's actually going to do is embed the video in my page. So I clicked on the
okay.
media browser and I click on web. And the web option allows you to upload any type of allowed media. So not just Vimeo and YouTube videos, but if you had an image uploaded to another kind of database or media library, you can transfer it to MyLO with that URL. But we're just going to use the YouTube example. I paste in that URL and click next. And pretty much the rest of it is done for me. The title is taken from YouTube. The video itself resides still on youtube.com, but our MyLO system is kind of making the connection for us. So everything is optional as far as the file description related issues and media tags, but those all help to make it searchable because I think it should still technically be searchable in your media library. So once I save that, it still gives me the option to change the way it displays. So if I did want it to show up as a link, I could, but I'm going to leave it as default, which it looks as if it's an image, but it is embedded.
Okay.
Save, and then we could see that come up.
Oh, cool. So okay, so I see. So when you do it in MyLO, you get it so it works on this page instead of if you did it with the link, obviously you would go to the YouTube channel. Okay,
So
that's cool.
is that the same as embedding?
It is, but embedding does give you a bit more control over
Where it starts? Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also the sizing, because what we'll see here with the kind of media library way of embedding, I'm going to try the inspect thing again. So we inspect, and we're already looking at what an iPhone SE user would see. It's a bit large because what it gets embedded with is the like the true dimensions, like the static number.
Right.
So that's, I guess, one benefit of being able to actually embed them yourself. Let me see if I can pull up that again. So if we open up a YouTube video, as we saw before, the share button it gives us the URL, but we have the embed option there. And then as
Right.
Sandy said, you can have it start at a specific time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And then,
Especially if you have like the beginning of a Zoom program and there's stuff you don't want, and you didn't carve it out from your YouTube thing, but you
right.
can have it start. Or you want them to go to a specific part in a really long video. Yeah, it's very cool.
And the other thing is about the size. So we saw that this one here was kind of going off the page when we were working with a bigger or I mean a smaller device. So I
It's
am
got handles on it. Can you just make it smaller with the handles?
let's try that. I'm also going to drop in down here, just making that full HTML so I can drop in my YouTube video underneath that. And the width and the height we see there, the static numbers, and those are in pixels. That's the same as what the MyLO system was using up here. So for the width instead, we're going to use a percentage. And so that should keep it responsive. So making it responsive means that it will respond immediately to each different screen size.
Oh, okay, cool.
Cool.
I don't know you can do percentages.
Whoop. I might have needed to change the height as well because it looks a little funky now. Pages.
I think, yes, I think you probably should make them both 100%.
I think so. Before I do that, let's just check out both of those. So this one is still a bit off the page. Whoops. And coming down here.
Oh, that fits. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the percentage works.
I have a feeling we've played around in previous sessions with the height in percentages, and I can't recall it being a good outcome. Let's see. 100%. I'm a little leery of that, but crossing my fingers. Yeah. Okay. Not the best there. I can't remember what the trick was there for the height. I don't think smaller will be better here. There may be a need to find just like the perfect static number, because I think 315 was the previous number and that was just a little too short. But I'm not sure how that might look on smaller devices.
Do we need to have a height?
Ah, that is a very good question. Let's let the system be smart and figure it out. It's not smart
I
enough.
guess we do. It's not so smart.
You just saved it as a draft though, so did you have to have it?
We were looking at the draft.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna try the static number of 400. It's a bit better, but again, if we see this on a smaller device.
Oh, that's not bad.
Not the worst, but I think, okay. And again, with all of these embedded videos, you have the ability, like on smaller devices, they'll be able to click full screen to see it, you know, fully landscape, or they could click to watch it on their YouTube app, or, you know, watch it on youtube.com. But yeah, the 100% width at least is worth, you know, adding the percentage there. You might need to tweak the height. But yeah, these
Probably want to calculate the same ratio that the fixed numbers had and see if that works.
What was that?
Calculate the ratio that the fixed numbers gave us for height and width.
Oh, yes. And try to
And
go
so
based
then,
off of that.
Yeah.
and then
Yeah,
where the height would equal 100%, anyway, you know how to do
Yeah,
that.
it might be hard though. Yeah, I see what you're saying, but then once we start to think the
Mm.
width is
The
not the same number for everybody,
percentage
it starts
of,
to get difficult.
right.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I was thinking at first, oh yeah,
Yeah.
well our MyLO pages are 800 pixels wide, but that's on desktop devices and yeah. But yes, the ratio for sure is I guess the most important part there. And I just don't know why the percentage doesn't work for the height,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, it seems like it
obviously
should.
doesn't. Sandy.
So
So
I,
I'll just comment that when I bring in videos from other sites, I just embed them
Uh-huh.
and then, provide directions. But I have found, like, when we want to display programs that were recorded, I usually use the first slide from the program as the image, and then I just put the link behind that, because that's a more appealing sort of image. You can read it instead of having, whatever's that first
Like
part of
the
yeah,
buttons, the
yeah,
play controls on top of it.
yeah. And sometimes you don't, the first part of it isn't as visually appealing. So that's what I've done. I have the folks give me the first slide, so it's really nice, and then I just put the link behind the image.
Okay.
Gotcha. If I'll give a quick YouTube tip, because it kind of is the same thing that you're talking about as far as providing the first slide and then linking it.
Yeah.
If you do have control of your YouTube channel, or the account,
Oh, you can take a clip, can't you? Yeah.
you can either take a clip or you can upload the thumbnail here. So on the
Ah.
actual video, you can apply whatever picture you're using on your MyLO site, make that the thumbnail of the video on YouTube. And then
Cool.
when you're going through, whoops, let me actually open that back up. When you're going through to embed it, under embed options, you can choose to not show the player controls. It does still have the play button, but it doesn't have, let's see, what is it? It takes away watch on YouTube and maybe pages. Yeah, it takes away like the timer scrolling at the bottom, makes it a little bit cleaner. So that might be an option, but definitely the way that you're doing it is perfect, because that's the way to create buttons on MyLO. Use an image and hyperlink it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
I have a question with YouTube. If you just use the YouTube link, then it tends to open YouTube and have all the next videos and everything. Will doing it this way keep that from happening so that you only get the one video that you want them to see?
As far as, well, let's see, because I have this top video is the way that I essentially embedded it by the media library. It still gives the same, but are you talking about the removing the player controls?
When it's over, when the video is done, I mean, if you just link, if the embedding, if you just have a link to YouTube, you go to YouTube and then you get all the, additional videos that they can watch and everything. But when you embed it like this, does that prevent all of that from happening, where all you see is the one that you've linked, that you've embedded?
I see.
And it doesn't automatically play the next one or anything like that.
Okay, I think the automatic playing does not happen, but we'll see that right now. But what I am seeing already is if you pause a video, an embedded video, it does pop up with more videos.
Okay.
And I don't know the reason for the difference here. You'll see that this second version where we directly embedded it with the HTML code, it gives me some that are MyLO videos. And then this version where we used the media library, oh, there's some MyLO videos here too. But obviously a lot of different types of content that's like more my personal stuff. But it is still essentially showing other YouTube videos when we pause. I'm going to go ahead and let this one play out. Let's see how it ends. So same kind of
Okay.
same list that they're showing when you pause it, but
Okay.
it does not automatically play, which is good.
Yeah, that might be governed by how you have your settings
Your
for your own
personal
browser.
settings.
If you
Yeah.
have it set to automatic play.
Yeah, I was asked to have people go to our YouTube channel to open it up because they were hoping that they would look at other videos while they were there.
That is smart.
So it was a way to generate more views of our other videos if you sent them over with the link to watch it. So that
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
I would-
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of times when our tech who does the videos uploads it, initially it's got its own URL and not our library URL, in which
Oh.
case, and then he puts it into the library. So I always try to make sure I use the one in the library so that it's surrounded by the other lead
Yeah.
videos.
Nice. Yeah, that is a smart way of trying to drive engagement, because YouTube somewhat does its job to try, I guess, to bring either relevant or the same channel's content, but obviously we see it's not that consistent.
Mhm.
Any other questions? We might take one last question if we have one.
I just wanted to make a comment about the anchors because I have a couple of pages on our website where I use that a lot. One is frequently asked questions, where I had all the questions at the top and then they click on it and it just goes down, but they can also scroll all the way down. And also, not this past election, but the one before that, we had a couple of measures on the ballot that we actually endorsed how to vote, to do a yes vote, because the oil companies were fighting really hard with a lot of disinformation, and we just, we got to do something. So I created a whole page that had, articles in the paper, videos, videos of meetings where decisions were made. People gave me all this information, and I basically put it all on one page with all the topics at the top, and then you could link down, and then even within those links, you could link to the videos, or you could link to the documents, or and people were really, really happy with that. We got a lot of positive feedback on that.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a really nice resource, and it is a lot, I guess, to kind of juggle in the back end as far as having to create all those anchor links, but I can't imagine how easy it was for folks to travel that content.
Yeah, we got a lot of good feedback because, the people that were in favor of the measures, I won't go into all the details, but they didn't have as much money as the oil companies. And the oil companies would say, everyone's going to lose their job. We're going to have, lack of energy. Gas prices are going to go up. And it was all completely false. So we really felt like we had to, say something, and
Yeah.
people paid attention. They still lost, barely though. So
Can you share that page with us? Put a link?
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love
Sure.
to see that.
Okay, let me put it into the chat.
It's all part of that, finding cool ways to show things. That's why I look at all the MyLO sites, usually take just 4 or 5 of them and look through them and oh, that's neat. And
Yeah, that is a great way to keep the ideas flowing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I am not opposed to us taking time out of office hours to have just bragging moments. Anytime that you feel that you want to say, hey, I did this and I need people to see it, hell yes.
Cool.
We'll have those moments always.
Yep. It's
you,
just,
Patty.
you're welcome. Thank you. no, there's just so many cool ways to do things. And I love having these sessions because I learn so much from everybody else, and it's just nice to share.
Mhm.
Great. Yeah, that is part of it, because I think a lot of the technical stuff we go over is one thing, but gathering inspiration from each other, and especially when a lot of us are doing the same thing, it's nice to know, how are you doing this same thing?
Right.
Definitely.
Thank you once again.
Thanks
Yeah.
We
again.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.